Wait, let me see if I got that. Oh, yeah, I got that. All right. Anyways, hello.
Hi.
We wore the same thing today.
We just decided to pick out the same outfit from our closets today. Yeah.
The illusion is real.
We just put everything back in the exact same place that we originally had it at.
Exactly.
Wore the same clothes.
Now plus one.
Look, it's a different day. There's a different thing on the table now.
There's the hourglass, and some Kit Kats are missing now. So.
Yeah. It's a different day.
I just like the we opened up. It's like, here's the illusion, ruined. Anyway, so today we are gonna be talking about episode. I forgot what we were talking about.
I believe it's 18 and 19.
18 and 19, and on a season episode basis, it's episode 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
So episode 18, or episode 5 in this case, is the Calvery Battle. So basically, we have a lot of the students teaming up together and fighting.
Yeah.
So we just kind of we pick up since the last episode, and the last episode I forgot to mention, like the fight kind of starts, but it's just kind of like, oh, everybody's trying to gun for Deku in a weird way, and it opens up Mineta's situation. He loses his headband.
Oh yeah.
Even in the previous episode where he teamed up with the guy with the arms situation.
Mineta is not the most self-sufficient character out there.
Yeah, but he's honestly, I kind of actually like his voice actor in English, because it does sound way more bratty in English than it is.
He has a lisp in English, right?
I don't think so. It just sounds more like a kid, and it's just like it embodies Mineta perfectly. In the Japanese one, I'm just like, okay, it's just his character.
It's him.
Yeah, it's just him.
Mm-hmm.
And in the English version, you kind of get his creep vibe in the next episode, where there was like the cheerleaders.
Mineta, it's always turning up the creep factor to like 100.
Yeah, that and like the electrical dude. He was part of that.
Oh,
he was part of the plan.
Yeah. No,
he was part of that plan.
They're both always in there.
Yeah, and so we have all these characters. They're fighting amongst each other. Some standout situations in this episode is Deku and Todoroki, and Nitio, the guy that takes other people's quirks from a touch. Shinzo. No, that's the one. That's the brainwashing dude, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's the brainwashing dude.
Who takes the?
I'm also using the wiki this time because for whatever reason my notes didn't save from the last time.
Anime Wikipedia, do you remember? They don't remember.
Is she knocked out?
No.
Oh, I thought she was asleep. Oh, it's Monoma. Monoma? This dude.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot his quirk.
Yeah, his quirk is blonde, blue.
That's not how cool works.
No, I know. I'm reading down his little thing here. There's also a status that says alive, and I don't know how I feel about that.
They have that in all the wikis though.
Okay, good. Just in case. Sorry, I was just like thinking, it's like, so is people gonna die now? It's like, is a bunch of kids gonna kick the bucket for whatever reason?
Oh God.
Yeah, but his quirk is basically he can copy. Yeah. And we get a sense of that in this episode, where he basically just flat out give a lot of lip to Bakugo and his team.
Oh yeah. And
it freaking like he just opens up a demon.
That's kind of in his character though.
Yeah. And goddamn, he just like every time here's the thing about Bakugo that I'm noticing right now, is that every time he says die or I'm gonna kill you, it's like it's more of him like he's not gonna fall, like he's not really gonna kill you now. He's just saying it.
That's a little bit debatable. I'm pretty sure if he could, he would.
There's situations, I guess. Got to play with audio earlier. Sorry, we're good.
Right.
And we got a sense of shadow dudes. Everybody's gonna love my nickname.
What's his name?
Shadow dude.
I swear to God, no. What's his name? He has the encyclopedia. What's the? Who's the bird?
The bird quirk.
Bird.
Bird quirk.
I don't think it's an actual quirk.
Okay. No, it is a quirk? Or is it a curse?
He himself is a bird.
Is he a bird? He's actually a bird?
I don't know.
Wait, how do you not know? This episode of the podcast just went off the rails now.
I mean, he has a bird head.
Yeah, it does have a bird head.
I don't know if he... Well, I mean...
Huh? Starts with a T.
I forgot.
Okay.
You know what? Who are we to assume his...
Yeah, his bird and gender. Huh?
There you go.
His quirk is called Dark Shadow. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Tokoyami.
But
we're gonna get so much hate in the comments. Shadow dude. Shadow dude is awesome, man. But yeah, we get a little sense of it because he did talk about how for his quirk, the shadow works. He can control it during the day, like during light, but it gets out of hand at night. But you don't get a sense of that a little bit. What you do get a sense is that it's a great way to kind of like make sure, like, it's like a watcher. It's like another character. It's like basically for Deku's team, it's like another person watching out. Mm-hmm. It's like another fifth member.
Honestly, if you're doing a Calvery battle, isn't that kind of like the best thing too? Because so there's one person on top, and then there's one in front and two on the side, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't that mean kind of like the Dark Shadow can be just the back?
Like the back, and which he does. He basically helps that whole situation, and in this episode we see Deku steal a headband from
what? Here we go again.
Sorry, Todoroki.
Oh, okay.
But it happens not to be the one.
Oh.
And then Deku gets his stolen from Todoroki.
Right.
Yeah. And so in the episode, everybody's still like, what happened? Like, how did Deku get on the board? But it happens that the Dark Shadow got another headband from a different team.
It was so like, cute how it just kind of like...
Yeah, it just kind of gets up there. For a name of Dark Shadow, I was just like, oh, I thought it would be more foreboding. But anyways, it's and we see that, and we see Deku at like the last end of the episode, just like pillars of tears going up into the air and stuff like that. There was some odd dynamics in this episode. I did notice a little bit how Ochako was talking to Deku, and how Deku was kind of like talking to steampunk Tony Stark.
Jesus. We need to find her name.
It's a class of 1B.
No, it's not.
Yeah, she's in class of 1B.
I don't think so.
Yeah, she is. I want to say yes.
Academia,
until I'm completely wrong.
Pink.
1B is the support group, right?
Her name is Mei Hatsume.
Mei Hatsume.
She is in...
Are you sure? God damn it, Wikipedia.
She is the Department of Support from Class 1H.
1H. Oh, okay. 1H. I thought it was 1B.
Is 1H.
Class of support. But like these I wonder if there's like some kind of weird love triangle thing going on with Ochako, Deku, and like that's other person. But then again, I was just like, I'm thinking it's like, come on, Ochako.
I mean, I think it's pretty. You could pretty much say that Ochako kind of has a crush on
Deku.
Yeah.
It's like, what's up?
Yeah.
Score 1 for the nerds. Yeah. Oh my god! Did you go you?
I said yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool.
Score.
I thought your friend just said ew.
No.
Okay. Good.
The only nerd to succeed.
So yeah, that's something I noticed, and then in this episode, we get to see Deku use like his all might like kind of power, and like don't get hurt from it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
and so now in this episode, I'm starting to think: is he starting to know how to control his power now? That's what I'm thinking.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe at his like where he is right now, it was one of those like, oh my god, I did it.
Yeah.
How the heck did I do that?
So it's probably we're not going to learn more about that situation until a little later.
So maybe
From the episodes that I've seen, it's like still kind
you
of like
eventually get to the point of knowing.
Yeah, yeah.
Takes time.
It's gonna take time, and I think the next episode of this podcast, like I think we're gonna get to that point where you kind of get to see this one for all kind of power working. Sorry.
Ooh.
It's a combination of water and Kit Kats right now that's doing this.
It's
to me.
a core.
Yeah, my quirk is to blow really hard. Oh god, I just realized what I just said. Jesus Christ.
Just let air out of his stomach.
Yeah, exactly. To let air out of my stomach. Nothing else.
Save.
Nothing else. Quiet. Quiet, you. Don't be the embodiment of the comment section. The living.
Take your Kit Kat.
Take your. And another situation is Bakugo's team takes the points from the guy that like Monoma. And yeah, this episode closes off and we see a glimpse of Todoroki's dad, Endeavor. Which apparently it's like he's supposed to be like a second strongest character or something like that.
So,
there is like a longer storyline, and we kind of get a sense of it in the next episode we're going to talk about. But like, he seems like a very foreboding character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in the briefest summary that I can give you to explain it, there's a hierarchy in superheroes, right? So like, obviously, like with ranks, there's like top 10 and then everybody else, right? So All Might is obviously at number 1, Endeavor's 2.
Okay, so there's a lot of big shoes to fill when it becomes to Todoroki's situation. I could kind of see why he like kind of gets that kind of pressure, you know, to be like, I'm gonna beat you, and it's kind of like it's like it kind of like a respect way for Deku. Like I think Todoroki can see the power that Deku has that not many people see, and say, I'm gonna try to I'm gonna beat you in this tournament. And so I thought that was very from the beginning of the episode I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And then at the end of this episode is, oh, you kind of get what Todoroki is going through a little bit, just by a tad bit, because in this episode you don't get a lot of things revealed, but in the next episode is gonna. There's gonna be some stuff where we're gonna there's some revelations here.
I feel like this arc in particular is a very Todoroki centric arc.
Yeah, I get a sense of that ever since the second episode, I believe.
You get a lot of information about his character. Like you get informed about like certain things about him. Yeah,
and also like Ochaku gets kind of like her day in the limelight a little bit.
There are like sprinkles of things here and there.
Yeah.
So like, but definitely like you get you get to know Todoroki pretty well from this episode.
Yeah, and then the next episode too.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you can remember about this episode that you enjoyed very much?
See, when I watched it, I remembered a lot about it, but it kind of gets overshadowed by all of the individual fights, just because of like everything that was happening.
Yeah, within that episode.
Yeah.
I think the reveal of Todoroki's dad in conjunction with like how he's been kind of acting and being in this season, like I'm starting to be like, okay, I'm starting to understand you now. That's what I've been kind of enjoying with this episode. It's just kind of like the reveals of different character motivations, and that's what I kind of like about it.
Because he seems like a very like aloof character, a little bit. If does that make sense?
Aloof?
Maybe not aloof, but he's very like
distant. He's kind of distant. Like wall. There's a lot of walls there. Yeah. And then there's some aspects of like 1B that's like, okay, these are people that's very calculating right now because they knew that they knew that 1A would probably try to rush the first challenge, and that and in the throes of this next challenge, they were like, okay, then we're gonna bring it up a notch.
I think part of it is the dynamic of the classes too.
Yeah.
Because 1A is supposed to be at the top.
That's the hero one.
Yeah. And then 1B I think is also a hero course, but they're more so kind of like.
I thought there was support for the longest time.
I don't think they are support. I think so there is a support class, but the support classes basically aid the
it's like
hero
1H,
courses.
yeah, the hero courses.
And so they like that one character, May, right? She makes like the costumes
and the different apparatuses and stuff like that. Yeah.
And then there's that one group of people, the business class that
just like sits in the sideline taking notes.
Honestly, if it wasn't for All Might coming in and being like, well, here we go, I'm gonna just drop these powers on you, I feel like Deku would probably be in the business class.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this was a very solid episode. We got to learn a little bit more about each character, and I think just kind of so far a very solid season with this episode. A lot of great fight scenes in this one too. Yeah. And then all these characters trying to figure out how to use their quirks while holding each other up, literally supporting one another. So I thought that was very good too. Yeah. So this would be kind of like my two favorite episodes at this point, because in the next episode, episode 19, The Boy Born with Everything, you get big mic drop revelations about characters. So if you don't have any more comments, I think we just go straight into
let's go.
Episode 19. So The Boy with Everything just kind of opens up with Todoroki and Deku kind of like talking at the aftermath of like the Calvery Battle. And Todoroki is like, just grilling Deku and like, talking about his powers and stuff like that. What happens at the end of that conversation is basically, are you All Might's love child? So Todoroki just has this notion that Deku has very similar powers or very similar like attack style that All Might has. And through that kind of like one kind of like move that he does where he uses the All Might power to swipe away the fire like he was going to use, he knew that power was similar to All Might's from what he observed from the previous season. And so that's why he came up with that conclusion. So I thought that was it's like, it opens up with the episode as like a joke. Like, oh, like, I think you're this love child from this one other character.
Do you feel like that could be like a weakness too, like a limitation to his powers? Because like, okay, so like the obvious limitation would be like, he doesn't know how to use it, right?
Yeah.
But then the second one is kind of like, nobody can know that the power that you have is mine, but the way that you use it is very similar.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a dead giveaway if characters are paying attention. There's a lot of things in this season during the tournament arc where you're looking at it from a back perspective, but there's actually something going on like in the forefront, situation. So what I'm trying to explain is like Todoroki noticed these things about Deku that not many people may have noticed.
Right.
And then we kind of cut back and forth between Deku and Todoroki's conversation and Endeavor's and All Might's kind of like situation. Parallel conversations. But one of the big bombshell kind of like reveals is that Deku, or not Deku, Todoroki's background is basically from kind of like a really like not a good place, because Todoroki's background is he's from a family that basically tried to do an arranged marriage to get a desired quirk.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently this was a big problem at the beginning when people started figuring quirks were a thing, and which in my mind I was like thinking, oh, I guess that makes sense, because it's like people trying to like get arranged marriages to have like this crazy child that has everything, I guess. And then and in Todoroki's case, he is set up to be the person that will beat All Might.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that his dad drilled into him. And that's something that Todoroki kind of resented to varying degrees right now, and he talks about how his mom like threw water, like boiling hot water, and it explains the scar that he has on his face. And I was just like, dude, this backstory is a little metal, you know what I mean? Just really kind of crazy. The only downside is when I figured out this portion of this, I was on a treadmill, right? And I was reading the sub and like watching like the Japanese performance,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, I read the sub and I was like, wait, go back. I went back 3 times to get a sense of like, oh, what's happening right now.
Oh.
That was the only downside, because I was just like, oh, this is like something crazy that he's explaining right now.
Right.
Because I got to that point where like he was talking about, oh yeah, his mom was like bawling and crying and stuff, but the whole like throwing a boiling pot of water to his face, I was just like, holy shit, like that's crazy, you know what I mean? And that's one of the main reasons why he kind of doesn't want to use that fire perk, quirk. I said perk.
It is kind of a perk if you think about it.
Yeah, but this is not Call of Duty Zombies.
I mean, it's close enough.
It's close to some degree.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Endeavor just kind of feels like this person that kind of has like this complex of like, I have to be number one or something.
I think it's probably also just he's kind of
status obsessed. That's what I noticed him as like a dad.
He's also kind of like drilled it in. Well, he is kind of like, not to brag, the symbol of peace.
Yeah.
I feel like if anything, it's just the fact that he has so much on his shoulders already that he has a lot more to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, but basically, not to make this just a whole Todoroki show, like this episode kind of moves into the explanation of the next kind of situation. Sorry, I actually have my notes written for this one.
Yay!
Yeah.
Whip out the notebook.
Whip out the notebook. Whip it out. Okay. Not in that way.
Whoa. Whoa there, buddy.
Oh, please, this is not the LA Fitness locker room.
Okay. No, not like this.
Yeah. After the lunch situation, that all the kids are kind of dismissed to, the characters go back into the arena and start to talk about the next the next challenge, which is basically a very normal bracket style tournament. And so a lot of the characters are coming in and getting ready, but we start to see some students saying, "Oh, I can't do this because I don't know how I got here."
Yeah.
And then you kind of get an idea of, like, how, have you ever watched The Twilight Zone?
I have.
So basically, it's like when you start to see the turn of the episode, you know what I mean? Like everything starts to kind of like go weird. In this episode, some of the characters are like, I don't remember how I got here, and how am I gonna be in this bracket battle if I don't know what happened? And so they're all like saying, okay, like I'm gonna have to forego my spot in this bracket challenge because I don't remember how I got here.
Mm.
And so at that point, I was just like, what the freak is going on? What's going on with these characters? And it's not until after the brackets get announced, and so as followed, these characters are finding each other. And I'm looking back at my the wiki page too.
So many notes,
so many notes. Deku with Shinso, Todoroki and Shiro, Ida versus Hatsume, yeah, Shiozaki versus Karamari. It's both of the it's the one that can go hard versus the guy that has like steel.
They're just exactly the same person.
Same. Yeah, when I saw that one on the next episode, I was like, is this going to be a stalemate? And Ashido versus Aoyama. Yuga Aoyama.
Aoyama is the guy with the belt, right?
Yeah, the fashion dude, right?
The fashion dude.
Fashion dude. Vincent in superhero form. I'm just kidding.
I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah. Oh, see ya.
Bye-bye, friend.
Bye-bye, friend.
I don't want to disturb the podcast. Bye, friend.
You're like trying to do a stealthy, like, okay, we'll see you later.
Yeah,
It's like, no, we're gonna make sure everybody knows that you're leaving.
Our Wikipedia is leaving.
See you.
I'll see you guys later. Take your time. I believe in you. Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Tokoyami versus Yozumi. Yarozumi?
I think it's Yarurozu.
Yarurozu.
She has red, right, and like a really big ponytail.
Let me see. Oh yeah, the one that can conjure up stuff from her
body.
From her body. Kirishima versus Tetsu.
I think
it's the green haired lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Bakugo versus Ochaka. Which is 2 episodes from now. I don't want to talk about it. Anyways, these are the bottom brackets, like the very first beginnings of the battle. And in this battle, in this first battle, it's Deku versus Shinzo. And you don't get an idea of the who's knocking at the door. Give me a second. Pause.
Taking a brief break.
Oh, okay, cool. I got that.
Hey!
Oh shit, that was loud. Oh, that's not mine. Mine is tomorrow.
Oh, was she just coming back to tell you got a package?
Yeah, I think it's Scott.
Oh.
My brother. Okay. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties, but not really technical difficulties.
We'll just cut it out.
We'll just cut it out.
Yeah.
We see, sorry. Deku kind of like walks off with the character that kind of backs out of the competition, the guy with the big tail. Mm-hmm. And we don't hear too much of the conversation, but it's just basically him saying, "Be careful with this person." Mm-hmm. And when the battle starts, Shinzo talks to Deku, and Deku responds, and he's just like, "Wah."
Yeah, I think it was a specific point that he mentioned, or the character with the tail mentions do not reply to anything that he says. Yeah, and he does it, and then when you're watching, you're just like.
Yeah, you're just kind of like, I freaking told you.
But needless to say, you kind of figure out the reason why everybody kind of lost their memory.
Oh, it's Ojiro.
Ojiro.
Yeah, Ojiro was the one that kind of starts to warn Deku about this guy's power and this quirk. And the episode kind of just ends from there, and it's just kind of like cliffhanger. Yeah. And this episode it's just a big revelation about Todoroki's kind of background and basically what kind of drives him as a character. And he has a lot to prove in the sense that he wants to prove to his dad that he can do this without using his fire quirk.
Yeah.
And you kind of get a sense of it, like how in this figure, like there's like ice coming out of him. It's like his ice quirk, if he's using it too much in the previous episodes, like it starts to build up, and that's why he tried to use it, I think 2 episodes ago, but he didn't get a chance because of Deku.
But it kind of makes sense though. Like it's an interesting dynamic. The only way that you can kind of keep using your original quirk is by embracing the other quirk that you don't want to use.
Yeah. Which kind of makes, like, I kind of understand, it's like that teenager thing where it's like, I want to do this in my own way, but in another way, it's like, if you don't use it, it's for your detriment. Like, if you don't use it, you end up kicking yourself. But if you do use it, it's actually more better because it's like a balance sort of situation. But I think there's a lot of like meaning and stuff, and I think it's a lot of symbolism that comes through when we're talking about Todoroki, and it's like I kind of understand where he's coming from, but at the same point, it's like you should just use it. Just like that question in that exam, I was just like, okay, well, like if there's a reason he should be using his fire power, he should at least try it.
I think it's just something that's so ingrained in him, right? Like, because it was the original reason why he is how he is was because his parents were like, or his dad was like, I'm gonna have like kids with the best ability in order to become the #1 hero.
Yeah, to best All Might.
Right, and then when he was growing up, he didn't necessarily have a dad. He had someone who was telling him that you need to do this and this and this. And then the person that he cared about the most ended up hurting him, which he directly attributed to the fact that he had the fire quirk that his dad had. So I feel like in like retrospect of everything that's going on, it makes sense as to why
he's feeling that way. Yeah. Exactly. And I'm not trying to like think about it as, I did mention it's like, like a teenager thing, but he has valid like trauma that he has to deal with through his family relationships. So ultimately that's like a personal journey he needs to go upon and figure out how to either deal with or get help. I don't know if there's such thing as hero.
I don't think hero therapy
exists in this situation, but maybe there should be.
Maybe actually.
Maybe there should be. But yeah, it's like it's a very solid episode, and I did enjoy it. And for Deku, it's just kind of like a reemergence of like don't hold back because you have a lot to prove. And I think that was one of the things he kind of said towards the end. Like, if this is what happened, like, I'm not going to hold back either. And I thought that was kind of like, yes, Deku, you're getting it. You're getting it. You're understanding it. You're understanding what's going to happen. You understand why All Might is taking this whole thing seriously.
It's just interesting because, like, there are a lot of characters that have to, like, build up their character, right? But Deku as a character, he has all the qualities of being like a proper hero, but he doesn't have the one thing that you would need to be a hero. Which is kind of like an interesting contrast to all the other characters.
Yeah, because all the characters already have like an idea of what type of hero they want to be. But or like they have all the powers and stuff, but Deku has like the emotional kind of like weight of like what a hero is, and through All Might, it's kind of like a way for him to be like, okay, I can be a hero. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think that's very interesting. It's like this is a person that didn't necessarily had a biological quirk, but now is working towards it. So I don't know if there's like some weird, crazy Japanese metaphor at the end of this whole series, but who knows? And there's another thing I also noticed about My Hero Academia. At least through the sub, not more than the dub, but in the sub version, it's like the way Deku's voice is. It's like it sounds like the beginning introduction sounds like an older version of Deku, and that this whole series is him like living out like or talking about
it's like his life,
his whole life leading up to him becoming the best
superhero,
the best superhero. Yeah, essentially. So yeah, this episode. Is there anything else? Oh, we could talk about the prediction of the next ones.
Yeah.
So, like, the next episode is basically going to be, hopefully the end of the battle between Deku and
and Shinzo.
Shinzo, which is I don't with the current situation, like how is he gonna get himself out of that?
Yeah.
You know, I know, but you know, let's
like
let's put up the oh yeah, we didn't see this situation, but yeah, like his quirk that should kind of like stop people in their tracks. It's just like that's kind of like a quirk that you could just manipulate as many people or something.
You know, honestly, as like you're watching him use his quirk, right? Like if you're using it kind of like in the purposes of how like the school works,
Mm-hmm.
it's not actually that powerful of a quirk.
Is
But
it
like
okay.
but outside of that, like
mm-hmm.
outside of how the school works, it's really powerful.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is because the school is combat based.
Oh, okay.
Right? But whenever
Whoops, I dropped something. Sorry.
But yeah, so the school kind of works more through like a combat based system.
Mm-hmm.
A prime example of that is like within the first couple of episodes of Deku getting into school, he does that
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing with him tossing the ball.
Oh yeah.
Right? But if you're just kind of like a person who does mind control, what does that do to like a ball?
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like his quirk is really, really strong, but it has to have like a certain like situation for it to actually work as well as it needs to be.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully Deku can get out of that situation.
Yeah.
It's a little dicey. And then, you know, I hope it's like we get more of like kind of Deku figuring out his power in the next following episodes. I know I'm like foreshadowing stuff that I already know right now, but I think that's like the
It'd
only
be nice to know.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice to know and figure out.
Yeah.
And but until then, I guess we're winding down. I see it's like we're a little bit over by a few minutes, but anyways, this is going to be our episode. If you have any questions, please write comments down below. If you hate the fact that we have no idea what's going on, you know, you can still comment.
Let us know what anime to watch.
Yeah, because, you know, like everything in life, My Hero Academia will end. Like anything in life. Unless you're One Piece or Detective Conan, you just go on forever.
Is Detective Conan still going?
Yes, it's the biggest thing ever in Japan. Dude, like, Detective Conan merch in Japan was like astronomically expensive. I was just like, I don't know. I like Detective Conan, but I don't know if I like Detective Conan that much to get like a small figure. But anyway, so yeah, so like, subscribe, ring the bell for any notifications, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.